Good day, good day. I'd like to welcome you to the Informal War Zone, episode 10. Sorry, it's been a minute. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. I have a very interesting download for you today, so stay tuned. Shout out to Jason Lowe over there at the Titans of Liberty. Been doing a lot of guest appearances and interviews with him and Thad out there for Latinos for Trump 2020. Shout out to those Proud Boys as well. Really appreciate the opportunity to work with those gentlemen, some fine fellas. Also, once again, I just thank you guys for your support, your kind comments, your interests. But I'm going to get right into it. This one will be titled, Beware of the Buried Bills. Now, right now, I'm going to share with you all something that I feel the Lord gave to me to share with y'all. On a few pages, I wrote it down so it'll be somewhat concise and clear for the understanding. But this is my 30-foot view. And it's not too political, but it's on the deeper realms of things. I want us to expand our thoughts. And then, like I say, the topic of today, if you stay tuned, will be the beware of the buried bills, where I'll be bringing up some bills that's passed in the House of Representatives, one in particular, the CARES Act, and how it came about, and then also focusing on H.R. 4373, the Engineering, Biology, Research, and Development Act of 2019. These things, like the CARES Act, initially was introduced January 24th, 2019, and it was called something totally different. The title of it when it was introduced was called the Middle Class Health Bills Tax Repeal Act of 2019. Then it passed on March 27th, 2020 as the CARES Act. And it's just a very interesting concept that these individuals do. And we really don't know in full what these individuals have planned, but most people aren't like me and don't go and keep up with their daily talks on the House floor and the Senate floor to see exactly what laws they're trying to make against us. This Engineering, Biology, Research, and Development Act of 2019, when you think about it, it's passed the House and it was read in the Senate, and it's been quietly put to the side. But we're talking about the Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. It's a very important committee because it deals with science, space, and technology. And engineering biology is exactly what it sounds like. So we're going to get into my 30-foot view real briefly. Might be a couple of minutes. I wrote it down. I'm going to read from these pages, so if you hear it flip. So it says, it's all about conditioning. What we put up with will determine our final condition. As in many constructs, there are many stages and levels. Think of the school model, grades K through 12, with an option to continuing education or entering into a trade or even a trade school. Each setting or structure is in place to help you advance to the next level. Well, in this current setting, structure, America, alongside a majority of the world, with the exception of CV 1984 freed New Zealand, sidebar, have been introduced to new ideas that will certainly forever change the course of humanity on Earth, where we are being conditioned to accept and eventually ignore evil and wickedness in its rawest form, right before our very eyes, with no emotion given towards its constant existence. So think about the things like with Wayfair and the Jeffrey Epstein, and if you look into those things, or matter of fact, you just look up close at Joe Biden's history on camera and just his questionable actions. I mean, these things have been going on right before our eyes for a long time, but now the veil is being lifted and we're able to start to see these things. Continuing. One may ask, how do I figure these things? First of all, you would have to know that I undoubtedly consider us to be in a literal war, whether it be a tariff war, trade war, physical on some parts, and when you look around the world, but we're at war without a full declaration. For the Bible declares that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. That's if you're a believer, meaning that they're not worldly. In other words, there are battles and assaults taking place on a daily basis. I view these attacks of aggression as a strategic element in their operations to divide and conquer a nation. All of the enemy's attacks have been deployed to aggravate you into submission. Honestly, it's really simple when you break it all down. At this stage, the war is a battle between truth versus lies. Lies are amplified while truths are suppressed beyond measure. If we don't start to fight on the side of truth, fight for truth, and fight with truth, then it's only a matter of time before you are consumed, destroyed, and devoured. For our enemy seeks to steal, kill, and destroy, and also devour the souls of the Creator's most powerful creation. That's you. That's me. We're created in the image and likeness of the Most High, Almighty Creator. They know it. We need to recognize it. But it's only if you believe in such. See, for those that don't believe, they're condemned already. So where's the harm in believing, whatever that may mean in your imagination? So you have to make your imagination a reality. Every day, every time you turn on your TV or radio, you're being given someone else's reality, whether we retain it consciously or subconsciously. Even now, I'm sharing my reality of this moment at this time. From here, your reality or change of reality may or may not be visibly noticeable. Nevertheless, our realities now coexist only because of this interaction. In the same fashion, when you receive a lie and believe that lie, the lie has now become a part of your reality, and therefore one willingly lives a lie, living out that lie as their true nature, never knowing there was always another way, another option, a different life, containing unspeakable truths that have freed many that were captured by the lies. Today, many are held captive and paralyzed by the lie of fear, for God did not give us a spirit of fear. Message to all believers: fear is not in your DNA, your God nature assignment, or your God natured abilities. The Creator, also known as the Father, gave us a spirit of power, a spirit of love. Bible says God is love. Let that sink in. Elsewhere, in John 1st chapter of the Gospels, it says, "For as many as received the word, capital W, he gave them power to become the sons of God, or the children of God, even to them that believe on his name." Now imagine that. You're a child of the Most High Almighty Creator. Now imagine the love that you have for your children, your family, your friends, your pets, or just humanity and people in general. Then think God gave you power through the Word and belief in his name, also known as the Word of God, the way, the truth, and the life, to set not just yourself free, but once you've been set free, you can set others free from that lie. So that's it. Thank you for your attention. But now let's get into this, the hard hitting, because I wanted to get us prepared. Now we understand the controversy that's surrounding the China virus. We understand that coincidentally, as we started to sign these trade agreements with China after devastating their economy from a stable genius, and rerouting all their factories around the world. I mean, these things really been going on and really has happened. So it's not a coincidence that at this same time that China comes to the table, after much debate and hesitation, they really go ahead and sign the agreement. And not even a month later, surprise, surprise, we have this virus thing. And now Secretary Pompeo has already announced to the public that a lot of individuals have been China friendly, and there's a lot of governors that have been Matter of fact, every governor has been scouted and tallied and measured on their sense of influence by the Chinese government. Now, here's the deal. We must always remember that it's the CCP. That's the Chinese Communist Party. Now, since the beginning of this, what I would call insurrection and attack, I would like to say that it started somewhere near October 2019. I mean, it's been in the works for a long time, but when you go back and look at the Wuhan military games, the first time that it was held outside of the barracks, for one, and all the collaboration and things that could go on, what I saw there was a straight up merger between the Chinese government and the United Nations. And so when I start to see that the World Health Organization is letting China suppress their numbers and do all these other incalculable things regarding a global pandemic, as our president says, basically the World Health Organization is carrying China's water and letting them get away with all kinds of medical atrocities, then we would have to understand that the WHO is just an organism of the United Nations. And we got to remember that it's Americanism, not globalism. That's our credo. So when we see these things start to take place, it should make one wonder. Now, if all of our politicians in some way, shape, form, or fashion have or are influenced by the CCP, Chinese Communist Party, it kind of puts them on the payroll of the communist. And there's a reason why President Trump says this nation will never be a socialist nation. But they seem not to care or matter. So let's get into the topic of beware of the buried bills. As I mentioned before, we'll go to HR 748. We'll just look at the titles once again, and I'll show you where it says it's the Middle Class Health Benefits Tax Repeal Act of 2019. Now let's go to some of these actions and see when it was introduced. It was introduced January 24th, 2019. Okay. It was read, let's go down, July. It's telling you Mr. Neal moved to suspend the rules and pass the bill. Okay, so they're suspending rules and passing bills. Considered under suspension. The House proceeded with 40 minutes of debate. At the conclusion of the debate, the yeas and nays were demanded and ordered. Pursuant to the provisions of Clause 8, Rule 20, the chair announced that further proceedings on the motion would be postponed. Okay, so that's Pelosi postponing this July 17th. They read it. Let's see. You go here, the 17 motion to reconsider laid on the table, agreed to without objection. Now keep in mind, we have Republicans, we have Democrats. So right here it's saying that it was 419 to 6 is the vote right here on the roll. So who's the sixth, or excuse me, it doesn't matter. But the point of it is, who's the sixth that voted against this stuff? We need to know that. You go here, it says received in the Senate, read the first time on the 18th. Now at this time, I'm telling you guys, I've been doing all kind of research, man. At this time, Nancy Pelosi, I believe, was meeting with the Italian president, prime minister, okay? Now, there's a lot of shady stuff that's been going on. And yes, I am going to say that these things have been planned for a long time, and we are being conditioned to not just believe a lie, but we are being conditioned to have our molecular and biometrics and everything changed by these straight up lunatics. And you're like, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm about to show you crazy, because they want Trump gone at no holds barred, man. They're really, this lady's talking about fumigating the White House on public TV, national.
Whether he knows it yet or not, he will be leaving. Just because he might not want to move out of the White House doesn't mean we won't have an inauguration ceremony to inaugurate a duly elected president of the United States. And I'm second in line to the presidency, and just last week I had my regular continuation of government briefing. This might interest you because I say to them, this is never going to happen. God willing, it never will. But there is a process. It has nothing to do with if the certain occupant of the White House doesn't feel like moving and has to be fumigated out of there, because the presidency is the presidency. It's not geography or location.
That's just crazy, man. That goes out to the world. What do we got ourselves into? Nevertheless, moving forward, you see that it's placed on Senate legislative calendar under general orders after being read the second time in the Senate, and that was in July 22nd, 2019. Now, lo and behold, this bill magically reappeared on the 20th of March, 2020. Okay, now you see this. Motion to proceed to consideration of measure made in the Senate. Now, this is after the lockdowns. The lockdowns came on March 13th, Friday the 13th, 2020. 2 weeks to stop the spread. Remember all that crap, man. Anyway, Trump saying that he locked down the borders and from China, all these things. But in the meantime, you have Pelosi and everybody saying, come on down to Chinatown.
Business owners in San Francisco's Chinatown are struggling with a slump in business due to fear surrounding the coronavirus. KPIX5's Ann Makovic is live as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi addresses the issue there. Ann?
Yeah, come with me as we stalk House Speaker Pelosi right now. She's been taking a tour down Chinatown, and we have stopped already at a temple. We've stopped at a fortune cookie factory, the Walk Shop, which sells cookware, and now she is stopping at one of the little gift shops in Chinatown. If you can see her live now, she has been talking to people along the way, a lot of business owners, a lot of community leaders here in Chinatown who have been concerned about the optics of the coronavirus and the fear that some people might have of coming to a place like Chinatown that might have a lot of Chinese nationals. So she has been going around to show that it is perfectly safe to be here. She says that this is a very special place to her heart because she started a lot of her early campaigning when she started her political career, some of it right here in Chinatown. And we got some word from her earlier on sort of the message that she's trying to purvey here.
It's exciting to be here, especially at this time, to be able to be unified with our community. We want to be vigilant about what it might be on the, what is out there in other places. We want to be careful about how we deal with it, but we do want to say to people, come to Chinatown. Here we are. We're, again, careful, safe, and come join us.
Yeah, and I want to point out that no cases of the coronavirus have been found here in Chinatown or San Francisco at all. So she's really just trying to point that out because they have seen a drop in business here. Again, back at the Chinese Bazaar gift shop here on Grant Street. She's a real tourist attraction in and of herself, as you can imagine. People are so excited to see her, people from all over the world. And again, of course, right here in Chinatown, who are really happy for the speaker's support today. Live in San Francisco, Ann Makovic, KPIX5.
You know, it's all good, you know, in other words. So it's like, you don't really believe that these people would have something so nefarious set up. And the unfortunate aspect is, do we have Republicans and Democrats going along with this same thing? Because you got to remember, there was always never Trumpers. You know, these people, Trump is not part of them. So in their world, Trump ain't in control. Let's keep moving. So you see, second closure motion, all this passes. 27. For the sake of time, you could. I'll leave the link in the bottom. You could read it all on yourself. But no, you know, that this thing passed. Let's say postpone statements for the record, blah, blah, blah. So that's something on the 31st of March. Doesn't really matter. Oh, no, this is what you need to know. The 27th of March became public law, number 116-136. So this thing that was introduced as, let's go back to the titles. It said it is the Middle Class Health Benefits Tax Repeal Act of 2019, Short title as passed into law, CARES Act. Okay, so just think about that. Moving forward to another example. So I wanted to lay that groundwork out so that you could see this before anybody knew about anything related to a coronavirus or a Wuhan lab or anything. There was a bill set in motion. Now I understand that I know how it works. You have something similar, you add to it, you take from it. We can use this bill, but what thought pattern are these things that's enclosed in the bill? Now I haven't read the full text of the bill as it was stated as the Middle Class whatever Repeal Act, but we know that the CARES Act basically put everybody out of business. So if this is part of a plan, it's not a conspiracy. I'm just showing things out there because it's all about conditioning. But people ain't paying attention. So I'm gonna show you an example of how we're not paying attention. HR 4373, Engineering, Biology, Research, and Development Act of 2019. I'm going to read a bit of this. I encourage you to read it in full on your own. But this is an act. Let's go to the actions first. Introduced in the House September 18, 2019. Reported, amended. Is this all? No, that's not all the actions. There we go. All actions. Okay. Introduced, yada yada. This is now, it's introduced by, what's her name? Bernice Johnson, representative of Texas. Those from Texas should know and be familiar. Getting to the point. Introduced, read, placed on the calendar. Ms. Johnson moved to suspend the rules and pass the bills. Once again, suspension of rules, passing bills. You're going to tell me these people represent you and I? Let's say on motion to suspend the rules, pass the bill as amended, agreed to by voice vote. We don't know who's there. So that's in December. Received in the Senate and read twice and referred to the Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. So the last thing that they introduced to this bill was 1219. Now let me tell you what the bill is. This is fun. That's the actions. My bad. So HR 4373 in the House of the United States, an act to provide for the coordinated federal research. Let me enlarge this for us all. To provide for a coordinated federal research initiative to ensure continued United States leadership in engineering biology, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled. Short title, this act may be cited as the, quote, Engineering, Biology, Research, and Development Act of 2019. Findings. The Congress makes the following findings. 1. Cellular and molecular process may be used, mimicked, or redesigned to develop new products, processes, and systems that improve societal well-being, strengthen national security, and contribute to the economy. Just go. Congress finds 1. Cellular and molecular processes may be used, mimicked, or redesigned to develop new products, processes, and systems that improve societal well-being, strengthen national security, and contribute to the economy. 2. Engineering biology relies on a workforce with a diverse and unique set of skills combining the biological, physical, chemical, and information sciences and engineering. 3. Long-term research and development is necessary to create breakthroughs in engineering Such research and development requires government investment as many of the benefits are too distant or uncertain for industry or support alone. What? Okay, whatever. 4. Research is necessary to inform evidence-based governance of engineering biology and to support the growth of engineering biology industry. You're like, what are you talking about, right? So, I mean, we could continue on, but it says the United States will go to 6. No. Let's go ahead and read the whole thing. 5. The federal government can play an important role by facilitating the development of tools and technologies to further advance engineering biology, including user facilities by facilitating public-private partnerships, by supporting risk research, and by facilitating the commercial application in the United States of research funded by the federal government. 6. The United States led the development of the science and engineering techniques that created the field of engineering biology. But due to increasing international competition, the United States is at risk of losing its competitive advantage if it does not invest the necessary resources and have a national strategy. 7. A national engineering biology initiative can serve to establish new research directions and technology goals, improve interagency condition and planning process, drive technology transfer to the private sector, and help ensure optimal returns on the federal investment. So they're basically saying we need to go ahead and put in the China model social crediting score like the Chinese Communist Party has, because they seem to have it all good and we're losing our competitive edge, even though that we're working hand in hand with them and taking money to basically put this bill up and try to pass it, which they're doing by creating nothing but chaos in the streets and by the media. But you don't see these things. You say, how do I figure this? Well, I figure this for the simple fact that this is the same House of Representatives that just impeached Trump. You know what I mean? Because they have a lopsided house and they're able to do these things. They're able to come and just bulldog all these bills through because they have the majority. So if you can't receive or read through the lines and see that they're trying to, because in their mind, they're not going to have Trump in the office going forward. But what they're doing now is setting these bills up just like they did the CARES Act, if you ask me. And then all of a sudden, boom, we're ready. We got this on the table. So in the same fashion, they got these things going through, and you and I are worried about what's going on, what's going to happen. Trump needs to do something. It's like, no, don't you see these fools are playing end around with these fools, man? You got the White House chasing their tails. Can you really keep up? But what they're doing in the meantime, while the people aren't paying attention, is making forth all these initiatives, putting forth all these laws, and they're saying defund the police, but in the meantime, they're trying to create, and you know what I mean, a national engineering biology initiative. Meaning, do you got your Covi-Pass? You see how that works? Do you have your biometric scanner reader? So can you travel? Can you buy, sell, and trade? Oh, we can't come here because you contactless. You know what I mean? These things go hand in hand, and they think they slick, man. These are communists. They're communists. Communists. I say it again. See, the way I figure this thing out, man, it's like a 3-tier system. You know what I mean? And you have your democratic socialists, you have your socialists, and you have your communists. Now on the flip side, with the spiritual side, you have your false prophet, you have the spirit of Antichrist, and you have the dragon, Satan. You know what I mean? Or the image of the beast. So in realms of the unseen, you know, we don't acknowledge that we're fighting good and evil, truth versus lies. But the reality is, what's going on is these fools have to tell us what's going on before they make it happen. Now, if there is no Trump, this stuff goes through. Now, what sucks is it might go through anyway because nobody's going to know it went through. You see what I mean? So let's go to some of these definitions. Like I said, I encourage you to read it all on your own. I won't take up too much of your time, but it's more than I already have. So we go into, it says, in this act, biomanufacturing. The term biomanufacturing means the utilization of biological systems to develop new and advanced existing products, tools, and processes at commercial scale. Now, would that be X amount, 100 million vaccines? You know what I mean? With biological research and development in it. See, people don't go that far because that's a conspiracy theory, but I'm showing you the bill right now where it says we want to have a national engineering biology research and development initiative. Okay, it's not a joke. What does that mean? It mean like put the mask on. We're going to change your molecular structure, your cellular. We can mimic that. So you're like, what kind of technology is this? Remember, this is introduced by a Democrat, passed by Democrats. It's already passed the House. Okay. Engineering biology. The term engineering biology means the application of engineering design principles and practices to biological systems, including molecular and cellular systems, to advance fundamental understanding of complex natural systems and to enable novel or optimize functions and capabilities. Now, one thing I wanted to make clear, this is not medical engineering or medical biological engineering. This is engineering biology. This is something different. We already got those fields, right? So you would just advance those fields that already exist. And it's really, really something to think about, because right now they're forcing the mask on people. Of course, they're going to force the vaccine. They're going to force the Covi-Pass so you can travel, buy, sell, and trade, because at certain points in certain places, if you don't know how to conduct yourself, then you get kicked out if you don't have a mask, or they won't let you be there. And so that's buy, sell, and trade. I mean, in certain places, if you can't, you're not able to work, get a wage per your labor if you're not wearing the mask all day. And you say, where are all these things coming from? Well, because we're being conditioned to accept evil and wickedness, man. Psalms 34, it speaks and says, for those who look upon the Lord, their faces shall not be ashamed, shall not be covered with shame, and it's an interesting battle if you believe it on truth or lies. Like, would you really trust the individual that had a connection to the same area where this whole China virus came from, where there's money being sent to the lab? You're funding the lab, and now you're the guy telling me that, hey, we need to keep you safe, but you're also invested to benefit from the solution. Like, something don't smell right, man. Something don't smell right. The guy that wants to save me and save everybody with the vaccine, he flies around with a convicted pedophile. And I mean, I understand people go through their things. God bless them. God save them. God hear them. Repent. But outside of that, put it like this: that's your homie, and you're gonna save me? No thanks. No thanks. I don't need to name names. But moving on and closing up real rapidly. Like I said, I encourage you to read this on your own. Also share it, because it's something that's going to come next. You know what I mean? It's going to be the biometric tracking. We already know what's going on with the contact tracers. These are the things that they're telling us and putting in our face. Locking down Ventura County. I heard an apartment building got locked down in Ventura County because something COVID related. I mean, I keep up, but I don't, man, because I'm getting my war footing on, and that's not, a violent approach. I'm non-combative. When I say war footing, it's political. I'm trying to educate individuals like, hey, wake up. Remember that Batman, Dark Knight, Bane? He had the little thing on his face. Think about it. Dark Vader, all throughout entertainment, the masked bandit, man, Zorro, all these people, man. Now they want to put a mask over your mouth. That's your voice. You can't silence me, man. It's the word of God. We speak the word of God with power and authority. If you got a mask on and you're mumbling, how much power do you have behind that word? See, Luke 9 says that he gave us power and authority to cast out devils, all devils, not some, not a few, but all devils, and to cure disease, all disease, not some, not a little bit, but all. All things are possible to those that believe. Problem is, we don't be believing. So Believe better, believe greater. Peace and blessings.